Okay, hello everyone. I just want to make this quick video to explain something that I find very helpful, and I know my clients as well are finding it very helpful. So this is an analogy that will help you to find your niche, and it will also remove any imposter syndrome that you might have. Right? Imposter syndrome is that sense that we have to be perfect in order to help people. So here's the analogy. I'm just going to get right to it. Whatever journey that you're on, whether it's helping people with relationships or spiritual ascension, or you're helping them learn a new healing modality, or you're helping them to grow their business, or you're helping them to avoid fatigue in whatever they are doing. Whatever you're the expert in, right? This is for coaches, healers, light workers who have a heart-based kind of business where you're offering your own work, helping others. This is for you, right? So whatever you're the expert in, it is like your mountain. It is like a mountain, right? Imagine that you're climbing a big mountain. Now, you have been on this journey climbing this mountain for years, right? Maybe for 10 years, for 20 years. For myself, as an example, I was a monk. I was a Buddhist monk. Before that, I had a degree in psychology. I was a professional counselor. Okay, I was already a substance abuse counselor. I was already doing really well. And I was on a personal growth journey because my psychology stuff led me on the journey of personal growth, like NLP, self-hypnosis, a lot of different forms of therapy I learned. Hey, and amazing Angela, how are you? So my personal growth journey was like a big mountain, right? Now, along the journey of the mountain that I was on, and I want you to put yourself in this story too. You're the hero of your story, right? There's a mountain that you're climbing. What is the mountain that you've been climbing? Maybe it's to have amazing relationships, right? Maybe it's healing through Akashic Records like Angela does, right? Maybe it's something else. Whatever that is, thank you, Angela. Angela has had good results in my program, and even before that, we were recognizing each other's greatness. She's amazing. So it's the mountain. Now, at some point along a mountain journey, you realize that you are, even though you're not at the top, you have enough to help the people who are below you, right? That's the kind of the key of this. Imagine that you're on this journey, and imagine that you reach back and you help others who are also on the same journey as you. This is the key of this analogy. So again, imagine yourself in this position. At some point along my journey, I was not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I've learned enough that I can help people who are less far than me. That's it, right? And so if you're on this journey, imagine you're climbing Mount Everest. Imagine you're climbing Mount Everest. It's cold, it's rainy, it's snowy, it's like windy, like there's no air, right? And there's people below you who are trying to get to the top. And you're not on the top, right? Imagine you're maybe halfway up the mountain, you're 3/4 of the way up the mountain, you're 1/3 of the way up the mountain. You're doing pretty good, right? But you're not at the top. Are you gonna help the people who are less far than you? Are you gonna reach back and help them? Do you care? Do you care about the people who are not as far along the journey as you? Do you care about them? If you care about them and you realize that you're further along than them, would you help them? Or would you ignore them? Right? Would you pretend they're not there? Would you think, oh no, I'm not perfect, and so I'm not gonna help them because I'm not at the top? I have a friend who's a nun. When I was living at the meditation center, I was a monk, she was a nun, right? Now, I had been practicing Buddhism and this type of meditation for a few years at this time, right? And she'd been practicing for maybe probably 3 times as long as I had, okay? Now, and she's been a nun for years. She's done silent retreat. She's done, probably a year or 2 of silent retreat at this time when I met her, right? And she came to live at the temple because my teacher was very advanced in retreat and he could help her. She needed some help with that. But she was like advanced beyond what 99.999% of people would ever get to, right? She's advanced. and she was so joyful, she was so happy. Everybody thought she was a good example. People looked up to her. She had so much energy to help people, but yet she was afraid of teaching a beginner's meditation class. Now, to put this in perspective, I had already been teaching beginner meditation classes for years at this time. I had already been teaching for years, okay? And she was practicing 3 times longer than me, probably, right? Or more, maybe 4 times longer than me. She seems to be at higher levels than me in my development at that time. And yet, I had been teaching classes, meditation classes for years, helping people, and she was afraid to do it because she wasn't perfect. She was very aware that she wasn't perfect and that she had a long ways to go. In one way, that's a good mindset, right? She knows, she's humble. She knows I have a long way to go. But she was insecure as well. She was scared of teaching beginners because she didn't want to hurt them somehow. Now, I want you to kind of put yourself in this story. Do you have enough to help people? Do you have enough goodness inside you to help people who are less far than you? Do you have that? If you realize that people are on the mountain, climbing the same mountain as you, they're trying to improve their relationship, they're trying to heal through various methods, they're trying to learn, become a great healer, they're trying to, grow their business or get in shape or whatever. They're on the same mountain as you, right? They're trying to do the same thing that you are, right? You're just further along, right? Do you care about the people who are less far than you? That's sort of the main quality that's missing sometimes, is we have to care about the people, and we have to realize that even though we're not perfect, we can still help them get to the level that we're at. Again, imagine you're on a mountainside. Do you go back and help the people get to where you're at? Like you put a rope and a stake where you're at, and you go back and you help people who are not as far as you, right? Do you do that? Or do you just think, nope, I'm not perfect, and you know what, I don't care about other people, I'm just gonna go to the top myself? There's different approaches, right? But what I want you to do is to remember that it doesn't matter if you're not perfect. You have enough to help people get to where you're at. Now, again, this whole analogy helps you find your niche as well. It's not just breaking through imposter syndrome. This helps you find your niche, because think about it. There's people at the very bottom of this mountain who are just getting started climbing. Should you go back and help them first? Or should you help the people who are closest to you first? A lot of people have a hard time in business in the beginning because they try to go back too far and help people who are not even close to where they're at, right? I did this in the beginning. This is a mistake I made, is I thought I was supposed to help people who were really stressed out and depressed and anxious, because I know I can help them, but I had gone so much further beyond where they're at. There was such a gap in consciousness that it became hard to communicate with them, and it became very energy intensive for me to go back and scoop them up. Just like you're on a mountain and you go and you're like, oh, I'm gonna help people who are just getting started, who are at the very bottom. Should I go all the way back to the beginning and help them? That's very labor intensive for you, isn't it? And if they're at the very beginning, they're not that committed to the journey yet, are they? They might turn back and go back. Hey, Carol, right? And it's also hard to communicate with them. Think about it. For me, when I started my business, a couple years ago when I was considering doing this, for me, to communicate with people who are very stressed out, very anxious, very depressed, they just really need a lot of mental help, that was the communication gap is big, right? I'm not speaking their language anymore. I was too far along for them, right? So it's the same as shouting back on the mountain to someone who's just at the beginning of the journey. You're trying to shout to them, come on, it's this way. They can't even hear you, right? So again, when you're trying to pick your niche, help the people who are not that further back than you. Help the people who are close to you first, just like on the mountain. You put in the stake, you tie the rope, and you go back and help them first. And then you can go back and help people who are a little bit further down. And then you can go help people who are a little bit further down, right? That's how you do business. You start with the warm people, with the people who are close to you in their mindset, in their level, right? It's a lot less energy for you. They're gonna be a lot more receptive to what you say. The communication gap is less. They can actually hear you, right? and yeah, you're speaking the same language. They will really appreciate your help. They have a similar commitment to the journey as you because they're not that much further back. Does that make sense? So this one analogy is the way that we teach how to find your niche and how to break through imposter syndrome during my program. Right now, some people join my program. They already know their niche. They don't feel like imposters. Thank you, Tom. You're welcome. Yeah, please use this analogy. It's so helpful. You know, some people join and they just don't know yet, right? And so it's always harder to help the people who don't know yet. And so this way of thinking helps. Like I've been studying my students' results a lot lately. And yeah, I'm trying to like grow my team and like make a video course and so on. Sorry, my screen just flipped. I don't know how that happened. Sorry. I don't know how this happened. I tried to look at the comments and the screen flipped. Sorry, everyone. I guess I'll have to end this video because I'm holding the camera sideways right now. Sorry. I'm getting seasick. I'm so sorry. I don't know how this happened with the camera. You know what? I'm going to end this video and start again.